Hunting Matthew Nichols is a found footage documentary that feels very similar to Chris Stuckman's Shelby Oaks. Unfortunately for director Markian Tarasiuk, that comparison applies to more than just the narrative similarities, since Hunting Matthew Nichols is also a pretty bad film. In this movie, Tara Nichols tries to reopen the case of her missing brother 23 years after he originally disappeared. Expecting to find some closure, Tara finds an unsettling piece of evidence instead, causing her to believe that her brother is still alive. Now, I don't want to spoil exactly what happens to Tara's brother, but I do want to mention that this story does involve a satanic cult, because this is the third movie that I've seen in less than 1 month to feature Satanists. I feel like I need a spiritual cleanse or something. But the demonic reveal, the missing persons case being re-examined after a long period of time, and the found footage style are all elements that feel reminiscent of last year's Shelby Oaks. The rest of the film, however, is clearly inspired by the Blair Witch Project. So much, in fact, that the finale basically acts as a complete rip-off of that film, which is disappointing. Because while the movie isn't necessarily bad, Hunting Matthew Nichols definitely lacks a personality of its own. It does have some decent scares, some interesting world-building details, and some solid performances, but none of that adds up to make for a good movie overall. Miranda McDougall does her best to try and carry the film, but her performance isn't enough to elevate the rest of the material here. Tarasiuk definitely has potential as a new filmmaker though, so I'd be very curious to see what he works on next. But as is the case with Chris Stuckman, I really hope that his next directorial effort will turn out to be better than his feature film debut. Because Hunting Matthew Nichols would, unfortunately, not get a recommendation from me. Now, I should note that this review was first posted on my website, davidthemovieguy.com, so if you'd like to know my thoughts early, or if you would just prefer to read reviews, you can feel free to head on over there. But be sure to let me know what you think of this film, and, as always, thanks for watching.